Hello, I'm Sitting Bull. I'm happy for this opportunity to tell you a bit about myself and my family. I was born about 1831 in Dakota Territory and was named Jumping Badger. My father was Jumping Bull and mother her Holy Door. At the age of 14, I was in a Lakota Indian raiding party to take horses from a Crow Indian camp. I rode my horse into camp and counted coup on one Crow warrior. When they returned to camp with the new horses, my father gave me a new name of Tatanka Lion Tonka Sitting Bull. At this ceremony my father gave me an eagle feather, a war pony, and buffalo hide shield as a passage of manhood. I participated in many battles against the Indians and whites that were taking the Lakota lands. I became known as a great warrior and chief of the Hunkpapa Lakota Sioux tribe. With the signing of the 1851 Ft. Laramie Treaty, I did not want to live on a reservation and looked for my native way of life and hunting. Then came the Chief Red Cloud Wars. I supported Red Cloud with the attacks on Fort Buford, Fort Stephenson, from 1866 to 1868. The government, looking for a peaceful agreement to the Indian Wars, made amendments to the Ft. Laramie Treaty, on July 2, 1868, allowing the white settlers passage through Indian land. It was signed by many chiefs, but I did not sign and said I wish all to know that I do not propose to sell any part of my county. Those who signed move on to the reservation, while I continued my attacks for the next 7 years. Indians in 1875, not living on reservations said to be hostiles, I formed a unity camp open to any Indian tribes. Over the next 6 months the camp grew to over 100,000 Indians from all different tribes. In early June 1876, I organized a sun dance to pray for healing and to make personal sacrifice. All tribes were invited, even it was usually only a Sioux tradition. I vowed to give flesh, and following the purification in the sweat lodge I came out to the dance circle and performed the pipe ceremony and sat down with my back to the dance pole. At that time, they inserted an awl in my left arm, removing a small piece of flesh, and then repeated the act 50 times, then did the same thing in my right arm. This took a half hour as I cried out, and sacrificed as blood flowed from my arms. I then did the dance around the pole for the next couple of hours until stopped in a trance. When I awoke, I said that saw many grasshoppers, soldiers, and horses upside down with their heads in the earth, and they were all to die, but we are not to take any of their spoils. June 26, 1876, was the Battle of Little Big Horn, when the Indians defeated Custer. Soon after the Battle of the Little Big Horn, the government attached a provision to the Ft. Laramie Agreement to allow for the Oregon Trail for road to Black Hills where gold had been found. On August 15, 1876, the government cut in half all rations, unless they stopped all hostilities. The Sioux called it sell or starve, so on February 28, 1877 they signed the Agreement of 1877. I became more determined to continue his defense of his way of life and of the hunting lands of eastern Montana. In May, Crazy Horse surrendered in Nebraska, and myself and Chief Gall crossed the Holy Trail into Canada. Over the next 4 years, in Canada, the Sioux rested and hunted. After a few years with buffalo and illness hitting the tribe and the rays of the ghost dance promising that their land, buffalo, and ancestors return. In late 1880s, Chief Gall and I began to disagree about the future of the tribe, and Chief Gall surrendered on January 3, 1881. Then on July 20, 1881, with the raise to the ghost dance religion, who believes that their land would be returned, what was left of my tribe with sickness and lack of food, I surrendered, and 200 Lakota reported to Fort Buford at the junction of the Yellowstone and Missouri rivers. As we entered the fort I said, "Today I'm home, the land under my feet is mine again." I never sold it and never gave it to anyone. The next day, when meeting with the major, I laid his rifle on the floor and told his son to pick it up and give it to the major, and said, "I surrender this rifle to you through my young son, whom I desire you to teach in the manner so that he will become a friend of the Americans. I wish it to be remembered that I was the last man in my tribe to surrender the rifle."